Grassley and Ron Johnson want Hunter Biden's travel records. The Republican senators asking the Secret Service for Biden's travel log while Joe Biden was serving as vice president. President Trump today wondered why the radical Dems continue to defend him.
But they don't think it's corrupt when a son that made no money, that got thrown out of the military, that had no money at all, is working for $3 million up front, $83,000 a month, and that's only Ukraine.
Well, joining us now to answer the president's question, Peter Schweizer, president of the Government Accountability Institute, author of the best-selling book, #1, Profiles in Corruption, Abuse of Power. By America's progressive elite, it's moved to #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list. And it is, first of all, Peter, congratulations. Great to see you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Luke.
Let's start with this request for the travel logs for Hunter Biden aboard, I guess it would be Air Force Two, traveling with his father, picking up a couple of bucks, maybe in the Ukraine, a couple of bucks in China.
Yeah, I think it's an excellent idea, and I think it ought to be extended beyond Hunter Biden to look at his brothers and look at his son-in-law, because we know that in numerous cases, family members have flown on Air Force Two, and they've gotten paydays or they've done business as a result of that. It's just entirely inappropriate, and what President Trump has done, Lou, is he has put his finger on the pulse that nobody else in official Washington wanted to talk about, and that is the kind of corruption that's acceptable in Washington would not be acceptable in the private sector in corporate America, but politicians get away with it because nobody calls them out on it, and Trump's finally called them out on it.
I called him out on it, and he, to me at least, conveyed today that he is ready to go on the offensive against that corruption, that political corruption of the party of hate, and to hold accountable all of the people who have bedeviled him for 3.5 years. The deep state, the top officials in the FBI, the Justice Department, the chiefs of our intelligence agencies, for crying out loud. And of course, those radical Dems in the House in particular, who have gone after him knowing full well he was guiltless, he was innocent, and had done nothing wrong, and yet they tried to destroy him, his presidency, his family, and this republic, in point of fact.
Yeah, Lou, I mean, one of the things that frustrates people that I talk to, whether they're conservatives or liberals, is this phenomenon in official Washington that people go into public service, they serve in Congress for 15 or 20 years, and they leave, and they're worth millions of dollars. And everybody's trying to figure out how that is. And part of it is because politics has become such a racket. It's become a way to become wealthy. And they don't like it when they're called out on it. So I think this is healthy. I think it's important. I think the senators calling for this investigation is a good idea. I think we need to be having congressional hearings on the sort of things that Joe Biden's doing, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, the sort of self-enrichment that takes place, because that's how you're going to drain the swamp. And if you call people out in the swamp, if you go after the alligators, they're going to try to bite back. They bit back, they failed, and the key here is now not to retreat, it's to stay on the offensive, to expose this stuff, because the American people are on the side of those who want to drain the swamp.
And it still requires quite a draining. If we look at Bernie Sanders, I mean, he's made a fortune in public service. He's one of those. And you recount that in your book. How could it be that a socialist can be so obviously, money, what would you call it, money-driven?
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, the interesting thing about Bernie Sanders is he figured out one of the deep, dark secrets in Washington when he was in Congress, which is you can funnel money to people by putting them in charge of your media buying. So, Lou, if you're running for the Senate and I was your media buyer and you said spend $1 million on television and radio ads, I would do that, but I get to keep a 15% commission. Well, what did Bernie Sanders do? He put his wife in charge of media buying, even though she had had no background in media buying, knowing that she could make money and it would not have to be disclosed. So he knows these secrets, and when he talks about this is about self-service and he's sort of the true believer, he may be the true believer, but he's also helped make his family very wealthy using taxpayer money, campaign money, and other sources of income.
I guess you could classify him, his wife, as socialist, if not communist, entrepreneurs. I know there's a little clash in definition. Peter, great to have you with us. A good idea for the president to be on a fence?
Absolutely. I think that's where you've got to be, because otherwise they're just going to try to pull you into the quicksand and drown you. Peter
Schweizer, vote for the president to go on offense. Thanks so much. Appreciate it, and congratulations again on your best-selling book. Extraordinary.
Thank you.
One of our producers